Hi, physical geography students. I'm Dr. C. Wanted to welcome you to the spring semester, and I'm looking forward to this class. It's an interesting class. I hope you find it interesting as well. The way I work physical geography is we're going to study events, and through those events and studying Earth system science. And Earth system science is basically the biosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, and atmosphere, and how those interact. We're going to look at the events and learn physical geography that way. Uh, so let's look at the course. It's a little difficult to get started, and we're going to look at 5 modules throughout the semester. And we're going to do a practice one at first, and that's the Australian wildfires that were occurring down in Australia last week. In the module, it's going to be called California wildfires. There's a welcome page. When you click on Start Here, gives you some instructions. Also gives you the username and password for the ASEA course URL. So if you click on the ASEA course URL and you get this, you log in. Well, you have to log out in order to, yeah. So you log in here with your username. Your username is going to be your Rockets email address, and password is the GEPL 2020, and it's all caps, GEPL, right here. Okay, so let's look at the syllabus. The syllabus, I thought that was it. Okay, so here's the syllabus. And you'll see that we have basically a cycle A, B, C cycles. And then cycle A actually has 2 parts. One is your prior knowledge, as the other is research on your sphere study. Okay, so then, oh, and don't plagiarize. That's a number one thing. It's easy in an online course, especially when there's writing, for students to copy and paste stuff off the internet, and that's plagiarism. You can't do that. And I don't want you to, if you put it in quotes, it's not technically not plagiarism, but I don't want you to like have just quote, 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 because that's not really a document. I do want you to write in your own words. I think we're not going to do the Zoom meetings because you have this video to watch. This is how the grading is going to work. The California/Australian wildfires, it's going to be 6 points. I'm not going to grade you on how well you do. I'm just going to grade you on whether you did it. It's important that you do it because this is how we're learning how to do the rest of the course. The Cycle A sphere study, or not sphere study, prior knowledge is 5 points. You see how that works. The team study, the sphere, atmosphere, biosphere, hydrosphere, and lithosphere is 5 points. And then cycle B, you're going to work together to make the links between the spheres in the event. And then cycle C, what we're going to do is globe observations or analysis of some sort. And I'm still working on what that will be. So each event will be 20 points. That's going to be a total of 80. We had 60 points for the intro wildfires, and then 14 points for your last assignment. One of the things I think I'm going to do is have you present your project, your final project, on May 6th. I have a conference at the University of Toledo. This is how the grading will work. And then here's when the assignments are due. It is important that you get your assignments done and submitted on time because other students will be reading your assignments and learning from you. You'll notice I'll have 2 due on one day. I'll have the last assignment for an event due, and then the prior knowledge for the new event due on the same day. Now, the prior knowledge is not difficult, but you do have to write about half a page for the cycle A prior knowledge. These are our modules. We're going to go with the wildfires first. And we're going to look at thermal islands, basically urban heat island effect. If the cities are warmer than the areas around it. Then we're going to look at El Nino, La Nina. It's a Pacific Ocean phenomenon that affects the weather. We're going to look at a volcanic eruption. Tail, I'm not sure how to say this, in the Philippines erupted recently. We're going to use Mount Pinatubo as the information that you should research because Mount Tail is very recent. And then we're going to use Hurricane Maria, but Katrina is the one that is going to be all the information about. If that makes any sense. If you have any disabilities, let me know. And okay, so that's our syllabus. Go back to the website. I did put the assignment instructions. I updated this. and how to log into the SEA website. Again, it's your Rockets email and GEPL 2020. GEPL is all caps. You're gonna log into this class. I'll show what that looks like in a second. And as I mentioned, you have these different cycle A, B, C, and that's it, A, B, and C. For B, we're going to do concept maps. And hopefully I'll see, well, this is the rubric for it. And I have the examples of concept maps on the left. Let's open that up. So a concept map is to help you see, I'll look at example 3, the connections between the events. So the way it's going to work, cycle A, you're going to do your prior knowledge. What do you know? How do you know it? And the questions you're going to ask for research, answer for research. Then cycle A, sphere study, you're going to look at how the event affects the sphere and how the sphere affects the event. Okay, let me see, I got to open it, I guess. Okay, is it working? Slow motion. All right, so here's one of the cycle B. This is, like I said, basically for cycle B, you take all of the students' cycle A's sphere studies. So here's our sphere study. Here's the atmosphere affects the event. A equals affects E, and then this student, and you have your reference below it. Okay, so you have to have your reference. Where did you get your information? Atmosphere affects the event, etc., and you number them. And then event affects atmosphere. So how does the Hurricane Katrina in this case affect the atmosphere? All right, so you number them all. You put all the ones from your team together. Just connected, connected, connected. And the last thing is you make the concept map, which is graphical. And here you go. Here's the example. You notice how these students, they color-coded the spheres. And then each box is a different sphere, and they numbered where they got that information from, which connection up above. And you see how they interact. So Hurricane Katrina, well, less than suicide, which is interesting, which equaled less human death, but there is human death. And but if you look at the hurricane, also led to lots of rainfall, of course, which caused flooding led to human deaths. You see how these are connected. All right, and that's what your cycle B is. All right, so lastly, where to put all the stuff. So the ASEA website, when you log in, you're going to see, back up one. No, hang on. Log in. Have to log in. This is how it looks for me. It doesn't look quite like this for you. Preview the course. Okay, so this is the course. So we're going to do A and B for California wildfires, Australian wildfires. If you click on A, then you'll see that there's a scenario, so you can read that. It gives you some background information. Then your assignments, and this is where you're going to upload your assignment, like cycle A, your reflection, your prior knowledge, you're going to put there, and it has the due date, so you know when it's due, always by 11:59 p.m. And then the team, the sphere study, here's where you upload that by January 31st. And then the next thing, though, you have to do this. There's rubrics. So I want you to self-evaluate yourself. And so if you click on the rubric, it'll actually give you things where you can click on the numbers. And then you have to explain why you think you got that number. You're shooting for 4 in all of these categories. Then once you submit your rubric, then I will grade your paper and give you your grade. I'll look at yours, but I'll also give you what I think it is, and that will be your grade. Okay, so you know, out of 12 points here, I scale it then to 5 points. If you remember, everything is 5 points ultimately in your grade. All right, so you can read those, what to do for each of the rubrics. All right, now we're not going to do all the rest of the stuff. So like when you do your cycle A sphere study, you're going to look for good accuracy. You have to be scientific, right? We don't want just opinions. We don't want news articles. We want, well, I want scientific papers that you glean or get from Google Scholar or OhioLink. Now, my graduate student, he's going to be posting resources in each of the Sphere events, so that you can use those. And I want you to at least use one reference that you get yourself, okay? You can use the ones that he posts, but then one you do yourself. You get a 4 if you have really good depth of reasoning. You want arguments from at least 2 perspectives. You want to cite good data and good papers. That's your support. And the number of interactions, this is a tough one. So in the class, in the discussion board, you're supposed to work together and post things. Now, if you do that, then you get a high interaction number here for a grade. If you don't post things, then you'll get a low grade for this. So this is kind of incentive to post things on the discussion board and work together. All right, so we're on the discussion board. So here's the discussion board. Let me switch it over to your view. All right, so then we have the discussion board. Okay. Most of you are seeing that you have to post an introduction. There have been some questions, and I've been answering those questions as we go. Post your sphere information here for your sphere studies. And so now here we have our California wildfires, which are Australian wildfires. I'll edit that name. But and the student Salaha, he has posted one article here so far. I hope he'll post some more that you can use. And then you post your information there too. Your Cycle A prior knowledge, your Cycle A sphere study, and then you're going to work on your Cycle B event here. Okay. Also, your Cycle A sphere study, you have to post under Safe Assign. Now, all that information is in the assignment instructions and under the start here. Okay, so where you have to post stuff is all in here. You just got to make sure you read it. All right, so anyway, that's about it. Like I said, I'll be posting the information about doing the GLOBE projects. That'll be our Cycle C. And as I had mentioned before, we're not doing Cycle C for the wildfires. We're going to start that with the next event. So let's see if I can scroll without. Okay, you got wheel of spinny wheel. Here we go. Okay. So you see how for the wildfires, we're going to go through Cycle B. Again, this is just practice, this first couple weeks. And then when we get into thermal islands, that's when I'm going to be grading you. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do these. You hopefully learn from the wildfires in Australia and California. But like I said, we're not going to do Cycle C. We are going to do Cycle C, and our first one will be due February 28th. All right, well, have a good semester. If you have any questions, email me. We can make an appointment. I can talk to you in person if necessary. We can also use Zoom, and we can do it over the internet, and you can see me, that type of thing. So thank you all, and have a good class.